Hi, welcome to EDLD 5335 Curriculum Management. This is Dr. Cummings. Each week we are going to be sending out an assignment video to you that will go over your weekly assignment or your module assignments. We hope that this will help you as you complete each of your assignments. And then each week on our web conferences in the virtual office hours, we'll answer any questions that you have. But we hope this is going to help. So let's talk about Module 1, Curriculum Management. In this module, your learning objectives will be to demonstrate knowledge of curriculum management in analyzing components of a curriculum system and articulate a school leader's role in the development, implementation, assessment, and management of a school's curriculum. For this particular module, we're going to review the 7 types of curriculum and explain each one of them. Apply your knowledge of content performance standards by unpacking a standard and identifying some evidence of mastery. And then number 3, connect the 4 documents from Texas regarding managing curriculum and summarizing the components of those initiatives. So we've talked a little bit in our lecture about what's the difference between curriculum instruction, and I've given you a figure here that kind of talks about the difference. So curriculum is why we teach something and what we teach, and instruction is how we teach it. So Robert Marzano has a book that's called The Art and Science of Teaching. The science is the curriculum, and the art is the instruction. It's what we do in the classroom as teachers. As a principal or a school leader, you're not only going to have to be an instructional leader to know if the teachers, looking at how the teachers are teaching, but you need to know why are they teaching that, and are they teaching what they're supposed to. So in this model, we're going to be we're going to be looking at the 7 types of curriculum, discovering how the Texas Education Agency expects principals to be curriculum managers, and then you're going to actually unpack a standard to really think about what students need to know and be able to do, so that when you walk in a classroom and you have the standards that this teacher is addressing and assessing in their classroom, then you will know if they're actually aligned to that particular standard. So let's take a look at the rubric for this, because what I want you to really pay close attention to is the exceeds criteria. Please be very, very careful when you're submitting your assignments. If you submit a blank assignment and you don't catch it and the IA does, we're not going to allow you to resubmit. Please make sure that you're submitting the correct assignment. We'll talk more about that in the web conference. And then also follow the rubric. So if you take a look in the last column, it exceeds criteria. This is where you're going to get all the points for the assignment. Anything else will be points deducted. So in the types of curriculum assignment that you're going to be doing, part 1, we're going to be making sure that you've described the types of curriculum, that it's clear, that your reflection on Gladthorne's observation was addressed, and that you put some kind of personal experiences regarding curriculum in your explanation of why you agree or disagree with Gladthorne. When you take a look at the mandates for the curriculum, we're going to make sure that you at least have something with every document. Make sure that you're addressing something from every document, and that we fully believe and understand that you've addressed what you think are the most important components of managing curriculum, and then talk about how this is going to impact your role as a school leader. That's to get all the points. And then unpacking the standard, we want to make sure you've unpacked it, you've identified the components, and you can articulate your importance of this exercise in the school district. And then when we're looking for APA grammar and spelling, we're looking for no errors in spelling, grammar, punctuation. APA citations are provided and are correctly formatted. So in the part where you're looking at those 4 documents, you want to make sure that you're citing them correctly. Okay, so let's talk about the types of curriculum in their meeting, part 1. In this assignment, part of the assignment, you're going to be looking at Alan Gladthorne's assignment, and you're going to be looking at aligning the curriculum. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to, you're going to take a look at the, let me get back up here. You're going to be looking at this chart, and I've filled out the first one for you. So there are 7 types. What you're going to do is from that article, you're going to write the definition, and then you're going to talk about whether it has a strong influence, what it has a strong influence on, and what it has a weak influence. And it's really simple to find out where the influence is on by using the chart that's actually in the article, but I'm going to show you. So in the article, it will have a chart that will have dotted or solid lines to tell you what has a strong or weak influence on the other types of curriculum. So when I took a look at recommended curriculum, the curriculum that scholars and professional organizations recommend, there was nothing that this recommended curriculum had a strong influence on. There were no solid lines from recommended curriculum to any of the others, but it had a weak influence on the written curriculum, so that's what I put. So after you finish with the chart, then you're going to talk about, do you agree with his portrayal of strong and weak influences, and think about your own observations of curriculum in the schools. The next part we're going to be looking at is how's curriculum managed. So you're going to be looking at those documents, Texas Effective Schools, Texas Strategic Plan, Texas Principal Standards, and also you might want to reread Elmore's Instructional Core that talks about management of curriculum for principals. And you're going to write a 300 to 500 word summary on the documents indicating what you think are the most important parts. So please make sure that you reference how this information is going to impact you as a school leader. And if you need to go back to part 1 of the assignment to talk about the different types of curriculum and add that in there, that would be great as well. And then part 3 is going to be unpacking standards. And I'm sure that many of you have probably already done this. It's important for an effective principal to understand how to implement a regular curriculum that's aligned to standards. And it's important for teachers to know what students need to be able to know and be able to do. I can remember when I first started teaching, they handed me about 3 notebooks of a curriculum guide and said, go forth and teach. Nobody ever really sat down with me and said, let's talk about what this means in a classroom. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to unpack the standards. And there's a video this week. Make sure that you review that video. And there's, you can choose it depending on your grade level. Since some of you are going to be future leaders, you may actually become a principal at a different grade level than where you're teaching. So please choose another grade level. That will help you. You're going to choose a standard and look at the essential knowledge and skills of that standard, the student expectations or the performance indicators. So I've given you links to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills if you are out of state. I've given you Common Core ELA and Common Core Math, but if your state has other standards, you can certainly use those. Just indicate on the chart which ones you're using. You're going to take a look at the nouns or the noun phrases. These are the concepts that students need to know. And then you're going to look at the verbs, which are the skills that they need to have for the performance indicator. And then after that, you're going to think about, are there any vocabulary words that they need? You're going to look at Webb's depth of knowledge for the skills and determine what they are. And then you are going to actually write a student-friendly objective, identify evidence that there was mastery, and then how would you use this exercise with teachers in your schools. So I've done one for you. So I took a 4th grade English Language Arts, and if you'll notice, there's a lot to the standard before the expectation. So all I'm looking for is this part right here. And there may be several expectations with each standard, but you only have to choose one. So what I did is I went in and I said the verbs were composed in using and literary text, genre, characteristics, and craft were the nouns. There is some vocabulary. I think that if they don't know what genre, characteristics, and craft are, they are going to have trouble knowing what to do. I chose this as level 2 because I think what they're doing is they've learned about craft and genre, and so they're just sort of taking a model and writing their own piece. So I chose level 2. There's the student-friendly objective, and this is where you would put the evidence, and I just put I will use a model of a narrative to write a personal narrative paying close attention to craft, word choice, dialogue, and sentence structure. So I've got my genre in there, which is personal narrative, and my craft I'm looking at is word choice. If you wanted to be more specific, you could talk about how you would maybe you've had a mini lesson on a particular part of craft or particular genre. You could add that in there. And then you're going to talk about how would you use this exercise with teachers and what's the benefit of using this with both new and veteran teachers. So that's module 1 for week 1. I hope you have a great week this week. I hope to see you on Tuesday. I apologize for the issue with the links to the readings. Hopefully you all have the new links now. So have a great week, and we'll see you all on Tuesday.